Specifically when it comes to those power outages, these frigid temperatures left some of the power companies literally frozen and unable to generate power.
And tonight, CenterPoint says there is a chance that those outages could extend even longer. KPRC 2's Robert Arnold is live with the newest information on this statewide saga. Robert?
We spent most of our day in this part of northwest Houston. We're around West Little York and the T.C. Jester area. We visited several neighborhoods: Antoine Forest Estate, Sheraton Oaks, White Oak Terrace, as well as Yorkdale and Acres Homes. And the people out here aren't just scared, they are angry. They have been without power since 7 a.m. and they know that the forecast is calling for it to be colder tonight and in the morning than it was last night and this morning. They want to know when that power is coming back on. And no one, watch out, Giovanni, you're about to hit some ice behind you. Apologize, just don't want my photographer to slip on some ice. Sorry. They want to know when the power is going to come back on, and really there are not a lot of answers. As you had been explaining, a lot of the private companies that generate power, that pumps into our electric grid, froze up and went down all overnight. So we lost a huge chunk of capacity. Now, when we spoke to Governor Greg Abbott, he did say that some of that capacity is coming back online, but slowly. So as that slowly comes on, slowly the lights are getting turned back on.
The good news is over the course of the past few hours, we have been able to see several 100,000 residential customers have their power turned back on. And I'm hearing to expect several 100,000 more in the coming next hour or two. And so that process is happening as rapidly as possible. But full restoration of all power in the state will be tied to a large extent to the ability of the private generators of that power to get their operations back up and running.
Could we not have prepared better for this?
You know, right now at this point, I don't know. All I know is that we lost a substantial tens of thousands of megawatt production capability last night. You know, the various issues I've been told are lack of natural gas supply, equipment issues, lack of water supply at standard operating pressure. There's obviously a myriad of problems when you hit a storm like this, but the bottom line is that that we need a base load strategy for power generation in Texas.
And State Senator Paul Bettencourt says he will be calling for hearings when the legislature gets back in session to get answers as to specifically how this happened and how to prevent it in the future. Unfortunately, no specific answers as to when power is going to be restored. One thing, the governor was not specific when he was talking about those hundreds of thousands of residences coming back on, exactly where. Certainly, we're not the only part of the state of Texas that is really hurting right now. So hopefully those power generators can get back online. The more that happens, the more the power gets on. The one thing that State Senator Paul Bettencourt did tell me is that residences, homes are getting top priority for power restoration, and the commercial businesses are being pushed down the line. So it's homes first as that goes. Now, one last thing before I wrap up here, is you saw me try and stop my photographer from backing into a patch of ice. Please, don't be fooled by all this that's melted out here, because in about 45 minutes to an hour and a half, this is all going to start freezing again. Temperature's going to go down. All this water that you're seeing, all this snow is going to refreeze. So if you're out on the roads, please go home. And if you don't have to be on the roads, don't be, because this is going to become just as dangerous as it was last night and this morning. And a lot of people have been out and about looking for gas stations. They're not open. Without the power, you can't use the pumps, and nobody's got their stores open right now. Reporting live from Northwest Houston, Robert Arnold, KPRC 2 News.